Peace and blessings, family. Sister Audrey, these people are on full-on war with us as going by all the signs from the holy book just spelled out the chosen people. And they know that. They have an awful lot to hide. They're not going to question what they do. They're never going to concede. There will never be a confession on the devil's part, because that is not the nature of the nothingness. The nature of the nothingness is total destruction. But given that, we cannot just go by the superficial just storylines they put out there, because right now all media, social media, major media, it is in a massive Jim Crow regimen in order to ensure what they hope will be their victory over us, which is that they're trying to make us seem so depraved that their own will continue to think that all the murder of the entire planet is our fault, as if we own these nuclear facilities. Or they're trying to make the creator so disappointed with us that maybe somehow or another he'll go, well, all you devil people, you're not as bad as my chosen people are, okay? In the small scale of things, they hope they'll be able to perpetuate, as I said, the white people's just hatred of us, and they do that by attaching us to this wokery rhetoric. It is so strategized, where critical race theory was developed by white professors in Harvard in order to cause friction. Now, we don't have to do anything but be black to have white people hate us. But I'm saying is that most people in America are really cozy. They don't feel like getting out on the streets and drawing blood. They have to be pushed to that level because everyone's gotten so comfortable. So to do that, they've had to instigate the whole idea that we are trans out of their daggone minds. We're into, it's whatever gender you feel like. And that BLM is something that we haven't already shouted out against. And BLM has admitted that they're there to push the trans-sutured agenda. Whereas in this survey that someone conducted, and they were asking various people in San Francisco if children should be allowed to have sex change. No such daggone thing unless they are going in and cutting folks up by the DNA itself. And all the pale folks were like, yeah, that sounds, they should have access to that. But then they went on over to Compton, and everybody they asked was like, oh, hell no, absolutely not. Oh, excuse me? Heck no, okay? So I love, Brother Yapo has said that the further we are from white people, the saner we are. There's certain aspects that just come straight from the Most High that let us know when something is horrible. So for them to keep attaching us to wokery, that's a war strategy. Now, I saw this story, forgive the nonsense that's over on the side, but I saw this story in Daily Mail yesterday, and I was like, oh, let me just ignore it, because I'm writing my novel, because we have to gain control of our narrative, which Brother Yapo, Sister Angela Riley, his queen, is doing, and I am in the midst of doing. But anyway, they have hired this Black Lives Matter activist. I'm not mad at her over being overweight, but I notice here in this article, they changed the headline because they were highlighting originally in the headline how this woman, I want to call her sister. I can't call her sister because she's in BLM, and so she might be completely an exterminationist to our people by endorsing perversions, all right? That ain't gonna help. You ain't our sister, you ain't our brother if you're endorsing anything of the sort. And so Zayana Bryant supposedly ruined a white student, Morgan Bettinger's her whole life, because she mistakenly thought she was threatening a Black Lives Matter protest. And then she later said, I misheard and I was mistaken. Big friggin' whoop-de-doo. Big friggin' whoop-de-doo. And now, I tell you, these white conservatives ain't got nothing for Black us. Democrats definitely don't, any either. We just have to separate from all of these people, both sides of the zombie bird. The right wing and the left wing ain't for us. They're both rotted to the core, okay? And so I'm just like looking at this and really, this is a big enough deal that they want to equate this with what's his face, Dylan Mulvaney with Bud Light, where people are like, well, now it's going to be Dove we're throwing away. You know what? I'm not upset about that. Because I remember this Dove. There's no way this company could have produced something so freaking racist. I mean, this was over the top racist. And they don't have a plan. Dove is owned by Unilever. And Unilever also owns Fair and Lovely, which is a skin lightening cream, prominently displaying on the box racism. Companies like this don't suddenly change their minds. So even when you look at these companies, they're all controlled by the same satanic elites. Ain't nobody rich who actually is anything more than a slave. So they're all like Prada, all these friggin' huge companies will come out with these little insults towards Black you and me because they had long-term plans. That's what the whole taking all that money and, we're going to help these companies through the difficult times of the thingy, majibby that had us all being locked in our homes like we were born criminals, right? This is all planned. That's what they were given, massive kickbacks, massive money, so that they could pad themselves through this war strategy to defraud, defame, just increase the stereotypes about us. They very much want us to be typified as leading the world to hell. That's why you got Kanye West. I don't even want to talk about Kanye showing his booty with his friggin' Kim Kardashian-like new wife, walking around just trying to imitate as much as possible naked. And then you got the headlines also on Daily Mail saying, ooh, Kanye is controlling his wife. No, Kanye is a victim. He is an MK Ultra massive victim since he got together, since he was stupid enough to hook up with a pale Becky. He has been lost. They saw him coming. And they took him into the hospital. They gave him electroshock. They destroyed that dude's mind. So right now, all he's doing is more of what he was brainwashed to do. He ain't in control of that woman. She probably in control of him. But they are going to say, oh, Kanye, he's being so controlling. Look at these black people. When it is in our nature to say, oh, hell no. But they don't allow our voices out there. I'm warning about a daggone genocide that is proven. And they have hidden my existence on their social media as much as they possibly can. Right? Doesn't mean that we're hidden. Doesn't mean that we stop. Okay? I've never been more hopeful, but to see how desperate the devil's gotten. Right? And so when it comes to that white student's life being ruined, you remember Jazzy Rowe? You remember this beautiful young lady who was poisoned by her white roommate in, I think it was the University of Connecticut. She actually was getting sick. And I'm not endorsing Essence magazine because it's owned by Shad Khan, something like that, or Sadiq Khan, who's just an Arab dude, came over, bought up all black media. It was always controlled, but they fired all the staff because they were a little bit too black. They wouldn't agree 100% with the pushing of the wokery. They know damn well we're not out of our minds. Right? Even though Essence has never been for the black family. I thought when it came into our house along with Ebony, oh, it's so wonderful. It's all black. And it was all boule. Okay? And so Jazzy, her white roommate, was putting poop and all kinds of, she was getting infections, throat agony in her throat that just would not go away until she realized what the hell was going on. And it was thoroughly racist. And then here was this Chinese roommate of this black man who he was a friggin' mathematical genius. Right? And he's still alive, but Jazzy's still alive too, and he's still alive. That's wonderful. Right? But the trauma from just because you're black, you get literally poisoned in college because this Chinese dude couldn't handle the idea that a black man was smarter than he was. And so he was poisoning him. And even in Africa, I did a story about an African student who he did lose his life. He graduated from two top Chinese universities as the number one graduate of his classes. And you know, within like a week, he was dead. He was driving through China, right? These people, they got a deal going on. When you look at the, pokey-reeny thingy-majibby, all the nations have cooperated. Africa was the only one where they had a semblance of nations that said, oh, no, we gonna get some goats tested. And oh, look at that. They're afflicted. And how many of their presidents were assassinated? I think it was about 3 of them for having the nerve to tell the truth. In Russia, there were doctors being felled out of windows because they were telling the truth. Yo, something ain't right here. Kudos to white dude, John Rappaport, who told the truth about the whole daggone thing. Right? And there was 2 doctors over here in the unentitled snakes of America who were murdered also in very suspicious circumstances. It was like, there's been loads of holistic doctors who've been taken out prior to all of this because it's been a plan. Fukushima was a plan, and they needed some way to hide that carnage because then people would be looking around saying, oh, wait a minute, what can we do about this radiation? Right? And testing, it would be the least thing that folks would insist on. All right? We're talking BLM, which is funded by George Soros, who in his native country of Hungary, they enacted a Stop Soros law because they deem him a threat to national security, because he funds organizations that destroy the chances of any country's future. From perversion to flooding Hungary with immigrants. Where have we now seen that recently? Trust and believe, it ain't a natural occurrence. They put up posters all over the country, train stations, billboards, and just walking down the street, they say, don't let George Soros have the last laugh. This dude proved his ability to destroy nations, to genocide whole populations right there in the petri dish of Hungary. You know the satanic elite love this dude, and he's the one funding Black Lives Matters. These companies can be all political, and we can't. Come on now. So from this to this, I ain't got no problems. As a matter of fact, I got a soap for you. I got 3 different varieties of soap for you. It's gonna loop back over because it just is what it is. I'm just doing what needs to be done. We don't need to have massive quantities of money and giant buildings all over the place. Because buildings and money is not civilization. Civility is. So when we know what's at stake and we realize there is no me without you, we produce products that actually work. Because we do that research. So go on over to 25,000 years cycle and get your healing on. You'll find my soap there, and as a promo, I am giving a free sample of my silk hair cream, which is absolutely amazing. Oh my goodness. With every purchase of 3 bars of soap, you could, mix it up the way you want. If you want all Nzinga, all Silbar, all New Black, or you want just 2 or whatever, I will put in without added shipping costs the free sample of the silk hair cream. I mean, come on now. These people, just separate from everything. Find as much as you can. Produced by Black Us. And when you go to 25000yearcycle.org, you are going to see there's very little that you need from those people when you are getting that healing on. Love you. Straight Black family pride. And eventually, we will take this planet back. Peace and blessings. Non-violently, I mean.